one of the all-time greats at Shadow State College, Ross Armstrong. It just so happened that Ross Armstrong was inducted into the Hall of Fame that same year, but I think we all know coaches like to bend the rules a little bit. In all seriousness though, this is a tremendous achievement for these former student athletes and their families. There have been thousands of students at CSC who have participated in athletics, hundreds of supporters and coaches, and many memorable teams. But tonight, the number of our Hall of Fame will only grow by 10. The newest Hall of Famers include John Axtell, Mitch Barry, Joel Duffield, Shawn Eisenreich, Bryce Flammang, Casey Haldeman, Bec Kyba, Jennifer Nelson Gale, Layne Sievers, and Jaqueline Wells. On behalf of Shadow State College, its athletic program, and the Hall of Fame committee, congratulations. Here's the part where we get to thank everyone before we get to the fun. We'll begin with the Hall of Fame committee, co-chaired by Mr. Con Marshall, who I'm sure probably needs no introduction to everyone in this room. The other co-chair is Mr. Caleb Center over here. The other Hall of Fame committee members, if you could please stand when your name is announced. Joel Smith, Randy Bauer, Bob Zam, Kathy Donahue, Dr. Scott Ritson, Dr. Rick Koza, John Axtell, I promise he didn't vote for himself, Ron Grant, and Karen Pope. Thank you. We also want to thank Angie Poitras, Caleb, Josh Mindeman, Dwayne Jemison, and the Shadow State Alumni and Foundation Office for the work on this evening's presentation. We also want to thank Shelley Johns and the Student Center staff, as well as Aladdin Food Management for the space and the wonderful meal. Thank you. And now we will proceed to our Hall of Fame inductions. As I mentioned earlier, CSC established the Athletic Hall of Fame in 1983, and since then, 332 worthy individuals and 5 teams have been inducted. Tonight, that number will increase to 342. Each inductee will be introduced and then will come forward to receive their plaque and lifetime pass, and will have an opportunity to speak. The first inductee is John Axtell for meritorious service.
John Axtell, the extremely capable radio and sports reporter at Shatter in the past 35 years, was the voice of the Eagles for 28 years, both home and away for the football and basketball teams. He called 293 football games, more than 700 men's basketball, and more than 400 women's basketball games. Axtell estimates that he traveled more than 3,500 miles with those teams annually. His memory of the games is phenomenal, and he also became well acquainted with many of the athletes and their families. He received Shatter State's Distinguished Service Award in 1998 for enthusiastically telling of the college's activities over the air. When he came to Shatter in January 1987, he was news director at KCSR AM and KQSK FM, which were owned by the same company. He added the job of sports director in mid-1988 and went with KQSK to Eagle Communications when the stations were sold to different companies in July of 1991. He remained with Eagle until April 2015 when he returned to KCSR as news director.
John, congratulations. Please come up and talk a little bit.
He's a lot. It's always dangerous when you give me a microphone and say go ahead and talk. You never quite know how long I'm going to be, but I do say it will be short. I have been incredibly lucky in my life, especially professionally. I've always heard if you have a job you love, you never work a day in your life. And I felt that way and still feel that way, which is why I'm still working today. I got incredibly lucky when I came to Chambron, because coming just as the news director, 3 days before I got to town, a large number of new elected officials had just taken office, and we all kind of started together. There was a new president at Sharon State College. And within 6 weeks of my being here, Sharon State was looking for a new head football coach, a new wrestling coach, and a new men's basketball coach. And I was fortunate enough to become good friends with Brad Smith, who was only 3 years older than I was, with the men's basketball coach, Bob Wood, who was 4 years younger and was born, strangely enough, in the same town I was in Southern Oregon, and then Scott Ritson. So it was great that way to be able to get together and learn and grow together. And of course, the one person that was already here and has been so helpful to me through my career at Chevron is Con Marshall. And it just happened that we think alike on a lot of things, and we both have pretty good memories. And so if I forget something, he reminds me, and if I remember something he doesn't, we take care of each other this way. I've been incredibly fortunate because Sharon State, during the years that I was doing the play-by-play, did not hire a single head coach that I did not enjoy being with. Very, 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 very few assistant coaches that I didn't particularly get along with, and almost no players. This just has been, the ones that I dealt with were just an incredibly great group of people. I can say in a real sense that I grew old doing Sharon State sports. I was 34 when I started, and I was the age of the older siblings of a lot of the players. And after about 10 or 15 years, I was now the age of the parents of the players. And then kept doing it a while, and then all of a sudden I was the age or older than the grandparents of some of the players. I told one football player that I hated him before I ever met him because I had called his dad's game. And so if I was calling the second generation, it meant that I was kind of getting old. I learned a lot of interesting facts from being with the athletes that I never would have learned. To me, the most interesting one I learned actually on a bus trip with the Sharon State women's basketball team. I had absolutely no idea that young women engaged in giving each other wedgies. I knew guys did that. I had no idea women did that. And I think if I had not been on that trip, I would still not know that they actually did that sort of thing. I can say that I've had great people to work with. I had two great football partners, Randy Bauer for about 16 years and Kerry Bailey for about 6. And I had a great basketball partner for 5 years, the late Bruce Engel. I'm just very fortunate to work with them. Very fortunate to have two great sports information directors in Con Marshall and in Alex. Caleb came along just as I was leaving, so I actually never worked with Caleb, or if I did, it was just barely that first year when you were interim, as I remember. So I had a great time with those people. I had a great time with the athletes, I had a great time with the parents. I feel sorry, in a sense, for the current group of Sharon State football players and parents because things have changed. They aren't hanging around together like the parents in the old days. The group that is going in today, how many of your parents made it to almost all the games, home and away, and had just a great time with each other? It was just all made it so memorable. I did not work for Sharon State. I worked for 2 radio stations, but I always felt like I was part of the Sharon State family and represented the Sharon State family, and I'm very proud to say that I had the privilege of doing Sharon State sports for all those years. And I appreciate the honor today. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, John. Congratulations. The next inductee is Mitch Barry from the football team.
Mitch Barry was one of the most versatile players in Eagles history. He started every game at cornerback except for 2 as a senior when he was injured. As a junior, when he intercepted 6 passes, he was first team All-RMAC, second team All-West Region, and honorable mention All-American from Football Gazette. The opponent seldom threw his way his senior year, and he had no interceptions. However, he was second team All-Conference and was placed on the Omaha World Herald's Nebraska NCAA 2 All-Star team for the second year in a row. He finished his career with 105 unassisted tackles, 11 interceptions, and 28 passes broken up. He was the Eagles' primary punt returner 4 years and was the punter 3 seasons. He returned a fumble for a school record 86 yards as a sophomore and earned an array of honors at every level. Barry is employed by the Shattern Schools, where he was one of the Cardinals' all-time greats in 3 sports, and is an assistant football and track coach.
That video didn't mention that he's also maybe the best play clock operator in Shadow State College football history. And I think might have got the Eagles a couple extra plays in 2007 when they beat Abilene Christian. So thanks, Nick. Congratulations.
All right, we're gonna do this. I used to have a speech. Last night I was thinking about it after our game against Alliance last night. I was like, what am I gonna say? Then I see some other guys over here that I was like, man, throw that thing out the door. It's done. This is why Shatter State is Shatter State. First of all, I want to thank the Shatter State Committee, the Hall of Fame Committee, for just everybody that's here tonight. Well deserved. I'm glad to be here with you guys. I can't thank you guys enough. You know, going through football is, you know, I see Casey Haldeman over there, one of my dudes. And on the defensive side, Layne, Bryce, Shawn, you guys are on the offensive side. But Casey Haldeman, you know, he's a guy that made me look good. You know, he's a guy that gets to the quarterback and made me look good sometimes. And, you know, he's going to hear his speech here later, but, you know, he did his thing. Shatter State College, I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come to school here. Give me a small guy from Shattered America, just give me the opportunity. You know, everybody from Nebraska wants to put the N on their head, and you know, I didn't get the opportunity to, but this guy right here, sitting right here, gave me an opportunity. Coach Smith, a guy that I truly love, gave me an opportunity. Coach Weiss, Coach Auer, and give me an opportunity to play as a freshman, and trusted me in doing what I guess I do. I guess I don't know. I play football, I guess, but I can't thank this guy enough right here. He doesn't get enough respect that he deserves. One of the greatest guys I love, and I can't thank you enough, Coach Smith. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and so. Thank you to everybody else that's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, Casey Haldeman, my football guys, everybody else. But the true Hall of Famer, where's she at? I know she's embarrassed. My mom, she sat in the stands with her leg crossed, didn't say a word for about 15 years. You're the Hall of Famer, not me. Man, I appreciate it. She deserves it more than I do. The sacrifices she did. My brother, Rick, he's over there, beat me up when I was little. Now he's my boss now. I don't know if I'm a big fan of that, but anyways, thank you Shatter State, thank you to the committee, thank you to all the inductees for everything you guys done. True Hall of Famer though, Mitch Barry. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mitch. The next inductee is Joel Duffield from the track and field team.
When Joel Duffield graduated from Sharon State in 2006, he had the school records indoors and outdoors in both the 200 and 400 meters. He still possesses the records in the 400 indoors, 47.22, and the 200, 20.82, and the 400, 45.92 outdoors. The latter time is also the RMAC record. His spectacular senior season undoubtedly was the best any Sharon State runner has ever had. He capped the 2006 indoor season by winning the silver medal in the 400 at the NCAA II National Indoor Meet in Boston. His record-setting time in the 400 meters at the RMAC Outdoor Meet was the fastest in NCAA Division II that season and qualified him for the U.S. Nationals, where 3 members of the Olympic gold medal 4x400 relay team were among the competition. The former Morrill Lion was voted the RMAC's Male Track Athlete of the Year in 2006, and he was a second-team academic All-American. He and his family reside in Mitchell, and he is employed by Chimney Rock Public Power.
Unfortunately, Joel had to head out of town early, but he and his wife, Kelsey, who was a long and triple jumper at Crawford High, who also lettered in track and field at CSC, have 3 daughters, Ashlyn, Bailey, and Jordan. So I'm sure he would have thanked them if he were here. So we'll just move on to the next person here, and that is Shawn Eisenreich from the football team.
Shawn Eisenreich had an outstanding career as a quarterback at Sharon State. After being an all-around athlete at Gordon, he overcame a torn ACL to become the Eagles starter under center for 3 years, completing 606 of 1,095 passes for 7,840 yards and 70 touchdowns. Most of his final stats ranked second on the Eagles' all-time list, behind only 4-year starters. His 58.1 completion percentage as a senior was the Eagles' best in 46 years, and his career 55.3% completion figure was the best. His 581 yards passing versus Fort Lewis in 2003 remains the Eagles' second highest single game yardage record. He also threw for 398 yards against Nebraska Kearney in 2004 and 5 other games with more than 300 yards passing. He was second team All-RMAC as a senior, behind only Harlan Hill winner Chad Fryhoff of Colorado Mines. Eisenreich is the offensive coordinator at Natrona County High at Casper, where he lives with his family.
Shawn was a GA my first year as a sports information director, so I was joking with him when we came in that I think I've shared more hotel rooms with him than anyone else, other than maybe John Axtell or my wife. So you're in elite company. I want to say, because Con did give me some notes for this, that his wife is a CSC graduate. Her maiden name was Shelley Langemeyer, and they have a daughter, Elle. So congratulations, buddy. Thank you.
Okay, I just start off, I want to thank the selection committee for choosing me to be in the Hall of Fame. Con and Alex, I've known you guys for a long time and really appreciate everything you guys have done. I got a lot of people here, so I'd like to kind of introduce everybody really quick. If that's good, it's going to take a while, but I'm going to try to go quick. First, my wife Shelly, she's in the back. And my daughter, Elle, she's sitting here in the middle. It's really cool that you guys are here to see this part of my life that before I knew you guys, before I had Elle, everything, it's really cool that you guys are here and, to see something that was really important to me for a long time. So thanks for being here. Shelly's parents, Randy and Jill Langmeyer, they're sitting in the back there. Thank you for coming. My brother, Cale, his son and his daughter, they're both here, Broden and Kyla. My sister Sterling, she's here with her husband Wade and Maddox and Cannon, her 2 sons. So I have some of my friends here, some of my friends from college, Joe and Tori Wild, Dane and Melissa Rasmussen, and Addison Margaret. They're all sitting back there in the back. So appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for coming. And my mom and dad, Mike and Christy, they're sitting in the back here. Just say thank you to these guys right now. Growing up, they had 4 kids, and we were all in athletics, so fall was really busy for those guys. They were doing volleyball, high school football, college football, and my brother, was a golfer, so they were all over the place. And those two with my grandma Shirley, they did not miss one college football game, home or away. So I really appreciate that, and thank you for that. Thanks for being there. My college coaches, Coach Smith, Coach Boyle, Coach Auer, and Coach Reiners, he's here. I appreciate you guys taking a chance on me, offering me a scholarship. Is the best decision, one of the best decisions I've made in my life coming here. So I really, really appreciate it. To my teammates, all the guys that I played with, a great bunch of guys. Obviously, when we played it, not necessarily me, more of the other guys, they played with, they were tough. They had relentless effort. They were just tough guys that a lot of our guys are undersized, a lot of our guys are slower than everybody else, but they played so hard that they didn't lose. And I think that's what Shatter State's known for. That's how it got to what it is. So I think I just want to thank all my teammates. Bryce, Layne, Casey, Mitch, they're all going in. Obviously, they're great players. But there's some other guys here. I saw Brady, Shawn, Buster, Evan, Joe. You guys are all here, and I didn't get a chance to speak to all of you yet, but I saw you guys, so I wanted to shout you guys out too. So those are the guys that you guys can that Shatter built successful programs on, and I think that's the way you got to do it to be successful, is recruit guys like this. And I think I just want to say thanks to all those guys. So again, it's an honor, and I appreciate everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Shawn. The next inductee is Bryce Flammang from football.
Originally from Cambridge, Bryce Flammang didn't see much action his first 2 years at Shatter State, but emerged as the Eagles' go-to receiver his next 2 years. As a junior, he had 41 receptions for 671 yards and 4 touchdowns. Against Fort Lewis that season, he caught 15 of Shawn Eisenreich's passes for 250 yards. The reception total was a school record, and the yardage was second. As a senior in 2004, Flammang grabbed 49 passes for 721 yards and 12 touchdowns, just one shy of the school record, and was first team All-RMAC. His big game that season saw him catch 7 passes for 149 yards during a 33-27 win over Western State. He initially caught an 80-yard pass for a touchdown. Then during another 80-yard drive, quarterback Shawn Eisenreich and Flammang connected on 5 passes for 69 yards, including a 13-yard grab that proved to be the winning touchdown. He and his family reside in Casper, where he teaches at Kelly Walsh High School.
Con also wanted me to say that you were married to a former CSC athlete as well, or that you are married, not were. Carrie McIntosh, who lettered in basketball at CSC, so congratulations, Bryce.
Just like the others that came up here, I'd like to thank the selection committee for giving me this honor. It means a lot to me. I grew up in a small town that was mostly football, and so the opportunities that came along with that allowed me to succeed and thrive through that sport. Brad Smith, I'd like to thank you for bringing me to Shatter to further hone those skills, I suppose. I think they gave me a lot of, they built my character. Coming up here and playing football for Shatter really helped build my character. It was one of those things that maybe as a young person I struggled with a little bit. I know there was at least a semester or two where you helped me stay in school. They said on the video a few times that I didn't play the first couple of years. So I'd like to throw a thank you out there to my quarterback, Shawn. I think he was on the sideline one game and said, when somebody got hurt, said, hey, why don't we put this guy in the game? And so I finally got that opportunity. I think we had an argument in the huddle. Shawn said, hey, you're going to score this play, you're going to run the wrong route. And everybody broke. I said, dude, I'm not running the wrong route. They'll never play me again. He's like, yeah, you will. Just run this. I'll throw it to you. You'll score a touchdown. And I did, and I never came off the field again. We did still hear about it in the film session, but it worked out for the best. If I can get these two tables to stand up. Thank you, guys. This is most of my family. They have supported me since I was little, for the most of them. The younger ones, maybe not so much. They've always given me support. They came to my games. They came to my college games. They traveled with when we went out of town. My parents, I think, you didn't miss very many. Traveled with the team. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Going back to my thank yous, the selection committee, I think if you hadn't put me up here tonight, my daughter still wouldn't believe I was an athlete. I tell them and they're like, yeah, right, Dad, you didn't play anything. And then when this happened, they're like, what, Rick, you did? So it was more to prove to them that I just didn't always have this dad body. But no, I really enjoyed coming to Shattern. It's one of the best things that happened to me. I met my wife up here. Sorry. I think out of all the balls I caught, Con said it the best, she's your best catch. So, thank you, honey. I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks all. It was an honor being up here. Thank you.
Congratulations, Bryce. The next inductee is Casey Haldeman, football.
Casey Holt has long been considered one of Shattern State's all-time outstanding defensive ends. He was a rare four-year starter and earned RMAC Conference first-team honors his final 3 seasons. He was also an Omaha World Herald Nebraska NCAA Division II first-team choice as both a junior and a senior. In addition, he received West Region second-team honors from both D2Football.com and Football Gazette during his career. His motor was always running, former CSC defensive coordinator Todd Auer said. Casey was named the Eagles Defensive Player of the Year following his senior year. He concluded his career with 111 unassisted tackles and 61 that were assisted to go with 19 quarterback sacks for 118 negative yards and 18 more tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He graduated from CSC in 2005 and is employed as a controller for fabrication products at PDM Steel. Originally from Douglas, Wyoming, he now lives in Vancouver, Washington.
Congratulations, Casey.
First and foremost, I want to thank the committee for voting me into this. It's a heck of an honor, it really is. Those that know me really know that I'm pretty passionate, so try to keep it down a little bit. But if I can get a Ric Flair out there, a little whoop. You can give me a whoop. Anyways, I got to calm down a little bit, but this is a great honor, and I appreciated playing at CSC. Like these guys alluded to before, that's what made this program what it is we have a deep passion for what we do. We aren't always the fastest kids, we aren't always the strongest kids, but we love each other and we play for each other. I really appreciated playing for Coach Smith, Coach O'Boyle, Coach Auer, all the coaches that coached me. I mean, it was such a great experience to be here. The college experience itself was awesome. If I can get those tables over there to stand up that came to represent with me. This means a lot to me. Like I got a lot of friends and family that came out. This is a heck of an honor, and I thank you guys very much. I met a lot of these guys at college. I played with a lot of them. A lot of them flew in. We're gonna have a great time tonight. This is a celebration, right? Day and funeral. Let's do it. Anyways, I'm very, very honored, guys. So thank you very much, and can't say it enough. Thank you, and cheers.
All right, go Eagles.
Congratulations, Casey. I'll let the fave know you're on your way. The next inductee is Bec Kyba Ryan from women's basketball.
Ray.
A native of British Columbia, Bec Kyba had received Region 4 All-Star honors while playing basketball at Western Wyoming College in Rock Springs for 2 years before transferring to Chevron State in 2005. She had a particularly outstanding season as a senior when she led the Eagles in nearly every category while averaging 15.4 points and 5.4 rebounds. She made 54 three-pointers, was 70 of 85 from the free throw line, and also paced the team in assists, blocked shots, and steals. The 36 points she scored against Metro State were the most in the RMAC that season, and third most in CSC annals at the time. She was named both the RMAC and the Nebraska D2 Player of the Week following that game. Coach Tom Anderson called her one of the best all-around players in the conference. Bec was an excellent student while majoring in psychology and graduated cum laude from CSC. Bec and her family live on a ranch near Tedford where she teaches art and is the activities director for the school.
Con wants me to share a story that Bec transferred from Western Wyoming after her former teammate there, Aaron Strahan, told Coach Tom Anderson that Bec would be a good addition to the team. Bec went home with her teammate, Jody Ray, for the Ray family's branding at Thetford. And that's where she met Jody's brother, Seth. And as Con tells, they went and got themselves married. They have 2 daughters, Emma and Paisley. Congratulations.
Thank you to the selection committee. I had to read the letter twice because I didn't believe it at first because I didn't think someone playing just 2 years at a 4-year could earn such an honor. So thank you so much for this opportunity in Chevron, amazing college. Just Nebraska in general is an amazing state, and the people here are awesome. My parents can never say enough about the kindness of everybody, so thank you for that. My table, so thank you to my parents, Wendy and Rick, that they flew in from, they're still up in Canada, so thank you for coming in. If it wasn't for you guys pushing me and letting me play the game, and I didn't even like basketball, I'm telling you. So that was, they dropped me off in Wyoming, so it didn't kill me, made me stronger, so thanks for that. And then what led to here, my sister, thanks Allison for flying in too. She probably doesn't know it, but we've got to play sports together in high school, and I always wanted to do what she did, and she was kind of in my shadows growing up, but I want you to know if it wasn't for you doing all the things you did, I wouldn't be where I am today, so thank you. Mr. Cooper and his wife are here. Mr. Cooper was a superintendent when I got my AD job at Thetford, and so he's been my mentor, and when I lost my grandpa, he was kind of like my new grandpa with the same name, so I think it was kind of meant to be. So thank you, Mr. Cooper, for being here, and my husband, Seth, thank you for keeping me in Nebraska. Like I said, I love Nebraska, I love the Sandhills, and thanks for picking me out of the crowd at the branding. Nobody told me what a branding was. When I went to a branding, coming from Canada, they told me to wear something dirty. Well, you don't come to college with dirty clothes. And I showed up to a branding in red sweatpants from Western Wyoming Community College, and I was the catch, so that was great. Thank you for doing that. My children, Emma and Paisley, they're like Bryce's kids. They didn't believe it, so they still were wondering what this was all about. So I hope I can be a great role model to them, being up here, and something for them to strive for maybe one day. Yeah, so thank you again. And Con and John, back then we didn't have, the Strive and the YouTube, and if it wasn't for you guys, nobody wouldn't even knew I existed, and the role of basketball, so appreciate all the write-ups and everything you guys did for us back then. Really, it was because of you guys, so thank you again to everybody and all the other inductees. What an honor, so thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bec. The next inductee is Jennifer Nelson Gale from rodeo.
After previously attending South Dakota State University and competing on its rodeo team 3 years, Jennifer Nelson of Hartford, South Dakota transferred to Chadron State and competed for CSC in 2004 and 2005. She brought along her bay gelding, Pickle, and they dominated the breakaway roping in the Central Rocky Mountain region that year. They also appeared to be on their way to winning the event at the College National Finals Rodeo in Casper before Pickle died just minutes before they were to make their run in the championship go-round on Saturday night. She quickly removed the saddle from him, put it on her father's horse, and was in the same pen and caught her calf fast enough to finish third in the final standings. She was given the rodeo's Hard Luck Cowgirl Award after having entered the finals at the top of the standings. Now living in Humboldt, South Dakota, Jennifer works in the Nelson family business, A-Bar K Trailers in Sioux Falls, and still ropes and trains horses from time to time.
Congratulations, Jennifer. Come on up and talk to us.
I'd just like to say thank you. This is a great honor. I felt like a lot of you other people getting honored here tonight where I couldn't believe it. Con actually had sent me a letter in the mail and I didn't get it, and he called me, I don't know how much time there was, but he's like, "Did you get the letter?" I said, "For what?" And he told me, and I couldn't believe it. But I want to thank the committee for this honor. This is great. I want to thank Con, especially. As soon as I got to Chadron, he pulled me aside and we talked several times, pictures, interviews, just super nice. And he's always kind of kept in touch. So, Con, thank you for everything you've done for me, especially. And after my horse died, Con wrote me a letter, and I mean, just super sweet. So thank you, Con. But I want to thank my family. My mom and dad are here. I wouldn't be here without them. I don't know how many calves they've pushed, miles they've drove. I mean, it's just, without my dad especially, I mean, he's so competitive that we all have it, all us kids. So my mom and dad are here. My brother Brad is here. His wife Kristen, Shaw, my niece. She was actually at the college finals last year and got 9th in the barrels, so that was fun to see. My coach, Robert, is here. Learned everything I know from Robert. and Misty and my good friend Lacey and Lee are here to support me, and Don. Again, my horse died at the college finals. It was very traumatic, but without that table back there, I don't know what I would have did. But again, thank you for the honor. This is great. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, Jennifer. The next inductee is Layne Sievers from football.
Sievers was considered one of the Eagles' all-time outstanding offensive linemen when he graduated. At 6'5", 285 pounds, he was also one of the biggest. He was first-team All-RMAC and Nebraska NCAA Division II as selected by the World Herald as both a junior and a senior. He also made the West Region's second team selected by both D2Football.com and Football Gazette as both a junior and a senior, while Daktronics also gave him that honor as a senior. In addition, he was placed on the Bec Kyba All-American third team his senior year. He also received the Don Beebe Inspirational Award and in 2014 was placed on the Eagles All-Century team alongside teammates Mitch Barry and Casey Haldeman, with Danny Woodhead running for 1,804 yards and Shawn Eisenreich throwing for 2,412. The Eagles averaged 458.1 yards a game in 2004, his senior year. That total is still 5th highest in CSC annals. His family is big in 4-H and showing cattle. They live on the farm ranch near where Layne's parents live. It is near his hometown of Randolph, Nebraska.
Congratulations, Layne.
I'd first like to congratulate the other Hall of Fame inductees and thank the committee for selecting me for this great honor. I got a little bit of a cold and I'm not real great at public speaking, but I do have some people I'd like to thank. I'd like to start out thanking my parents and grandparents for all the support from them over the years and teaching me a good work ethic. When I was about 5, my grandparents moved to town. We moved on to their farm, and my grandpa would always come out and help. I always had to be the one to go help him. And I really hated that at the time, mostly because he seemed like he was angry all the time, and he yelled more than I thought he needed to. But once I learned his bark was worse than his bite, it wasn't so bad, and also it helped me in the future for dealing with Coach Boyle. Like I said, I didn't like it at the time, but it was probably the best thing for me. I learned a lot. He always said things, he always said things like, do it right the first time, you won't have to do it again. If you need to see something doing, do it. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. That stuff still sticks with me today. Sorry. Well, I thank high school coach of mine, Mr. Bill Lyman, a friend of mine, Craig Googles. They got me in the weight room. Craig was a great example. First guy in, last guy out, busting his butt the whole time. I know without those guys, I wouldn't be up here. I wouldn't have been a good high school player, let alone got the opportunity to come here and play. I'd like to go thank Coach Smith for giving me a scholarship to come here. Fortunate enough to meet my wife Jackie, 3 great kids now, Ty, Claire, and Logan. Ryan Detterding, Max Letterhouse, those 2 guys were the tackles here when I got here, and they showed me the right way to play that position. All the guards I was fortunate enough to play alongside. Matt Bjorn, Cody Bagan, Wiley Dempsey, Chad White, Rob Kleintoe. Had a lot of great backsmen here. Austin Forrester, Covey, Leafs, Woodhead, Shawn Eisenreich was the quarterback when I was here. High school, I had one of those guys that was always yelling at the line to block, get shattered, nothing but positive feedback from those guys. And Shawn, I don't know where you're at, but I know one stat they don't show up there is he's probably got at least 9 career blocks. I know that doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but it meant a lot to me that have a quarterback willing to stick his nose out there every once in a while. And I know the coaches weren't always happy with him when he did it, but he was always sure to let you know in the game that he did and be looking for it on film. There's just so many people. Don Watt, all the trainers for keeping me in working order. Don hauled me in the emergency room a couple times to pump fluids in me, otherwise I'd probably be still laying up there in a ball on the hill. All those guys in practice that busted their butts every day. On the scout team, Casey Haldeman, best D lineman I ever went up against, and you made yourself get better, or he was going to make you look stupid at practice every day. All the offensive linemen, Chris Heiden's here, I don't think there's anyone else, but all those guys are there every day in practice, working hard and supporting each other. A friend of mine not here, Wiley Dempsey, he kind of took me in, showed me how things worked, and introduced me to people, just made the transition into the college a lot easier for me. Big thanks to Coach Boyle. I know I wouldn't be going in the Hall of Fame without him. I don't think there's a kid in the world grows up wanting to be an offensive lineman, but he made you take pride in what you did and doing the best job you could do. I know when I came here on my recruiting trip, I remember Jeremy Early took me out, great offensive lineman here, and went out and met some guys, and I asked them about Coach Boyle. They just kind of smiled and looked at each other, didn't really say much. Just kind of wondering what was going on, and finally someone said, well, he's tough, but he's fair, and he's a great guy, and he'll do anything for you, and that really sums Coach Boyle up. I know when I was a freshman, I went in when Max got hurt in the South Dakota game, and thought I had a pretty good game. Played against Mines, that was my first start, and thought I played good, pretty well. And Fort Lewis, I was going to start again, and I kind of had that game built up in my mind. I wanted to have a great game, because I knew Max was probably going to come back the next couple games. They were tough games, but I wanted the coaches and players to know that I could handle it if he couldn't. And I just went out and just had the worst game of my life. Now, I know we won that game, but I was pretty upset afterwards. And Coach Boyle came up to me afterwards, and he was like, well, what's the matter with you? And I just said, well, I played really bad. Not my words, but I don't think I should use those words here. And he's like, well, we'll see. Next day of film, he come up to me and said, you're right, you did play really bad. That was the oldest thing that I appreciate about Coach Boyle. He tells you how it was, and he wasn't going to tell you any different. I could go on and on, coaches and players and friends and family, but I won't keep you here all night. I'll introduce my table, my aunt and uncle, Mitch and Kathy Sump, my mom Lori, my son Ty, daughter Claire, son Logan, and my wife Jackie. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Layne. Our final inductee is Jaqueline Wells Hobbs from track and field.
Jaqueline Wells was a 9-time conference champion and a 10-time All-American while dominating throwing events for the Eagles from 2003 to 2006. A native of Albion, Nebraska, she was named to the RMAX 12-member All-Century Track and Field team in 2009. When she graduated, she owned 4 school records. Her outdoor shot mark of 52-1 also was the conference record. During her career, she won a throwing event 55 times and was named the RMAX Outstanding Female Athlete both indoors and outdoors in 2005. As a senior in 2006, Wells was the Eagles Female Scholar Athlete of the Year and was on the District 7 All-Academic Team. Wells was the first of 4 members of her family to attend CSC and participate in athletics. She came to Chadron State after being accepted into the Rural Health Opportunities Program. Following her graduation from CSC in 2006, she attended the University of Nebraska College of Medicine in Omaha and is now a family physician at the Seward Family Medical Center in Seward, Nebraska.
Congratulations, Jaqueline.
First of all, if I could change one thing, it'd be that face I make when I throw the shot put. I, again, would like to thank the committee, just like everyone else. Also, I am an accidental track athlete. I did all sports in high school and came out to Shatter and decided to do R-Hop, and I'm like, I think I want to still do something. And I was fairly good at track. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but that's okay. You don't have to love everything you do. And after my summer before college started, I told my mom, I'm just overwhelmed. I feel like track is going to be too much. And she said, just do it for a year and see what happens. Well, number one, I had a great coach, Coach Eric Borja. Without him, I wouldn't have had the success that I had. And so thank goodness that Coach Reiner's found him, because it's not easy to find GAs to do 2 years of work and coach, snot-nosed college kids. But I just really wish my mom was here to see this. She passed away 10 years ago this summer. But without her, I wouldn't have been here to receive this award. So that's my accidental track story. But I had a great time here at CSC, many memories, a lot of memories that happened, flooding back all day, and just watching all you football guys get your awards, and me thinking about all the other players that were here the same time that I was. With me today, I have my husband and my 2 kids, Everly and Murphy. Murphy's made more noise today than I think he has his entire life. And then half of my siblings are here. Ryan and his family, my older sister Elizabeth and her family, and my sister Emily, who went to Wayne State. And her family. My other siblings that couldn't be here, Thomas and Mary, who came to Shattern here, they're actually together at Michigan this weekend because Thomas goes to Michigan State right now. And then my baby sister Sarah, who is a national champion shot putter for Wayne State. Something about, traveling all the way across the state of South Dakota and pregnant. She didn't want to come. No, I think she had to work. But thank you guys very much, and thank you Coach Reiners for putting up with me, because I wasn't the easiest personality and still am not. And thank you Con Marshall for everything. I got my letter because it got forwarded from my workplace right after I'd had Murphy, so it was all a haze when it came through. I'm like, oh, what's this letter? So thank you, Con, for making sure that I got it and making sure that we made this happen. So thanks, guys.
Congratulations once again. And that concludes the 39th Shattern State College Athletic Hall of Fame induction. Congratulations to all of our inductees. One thing before we leave, this is a reminder for the inductees to please meet up front for pictures with their plaques. And Con, do you want them up here or do you want them over there? Okay, take them over here by the big plaque. But thank you again for joining us. Congratulations. I don't have it in the script, John.
He never works off script.
John said I'm supposed to remind you all for another luncheon or dinner, which is next weekend?
2 weekends.
2 weekends from now.
I can't work off script.
Yeah, Joel can do this.
First of all, let me thank Alex Helmbrook. Alex was the sports information. Alex is our, what is your title? He's in charge of all the college relations, okay? But he used to be the sports information director after Con, and he knows all of these people, has been intimately involved with them, and Alex is just a very good friend of the athletics here at Shattern. So, what John wanted me to remind you all of is that 2 weeks from now we have Win Eagles Dare, which is our silent live auction fundraiser. If you look on our website, you'll see all of the things that we have auctioning off. There is a nice dinner and with entertainment, and we have a live artist painting a painting that we're going to auction off. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're in town in 2 weeks on the 29th, you're welcome to come. If not, you can't get online and bid on any of that stuff while you're on there. So we'd love to have you do that. And on behalf of the athletic department here at Shattern State, thank you very much. Thanks for being alums. And now you are inductees. So welcome. Thanks.